And good morning. It is Wednesday, July 5th, 2017. This is the Bitter Knitters podcast. I'm Jacqueline. I'm here with Arthur.
Hello.
And Ryan.
Hi.
Happy Independence Day, Ryan. You had your big celebration yesterday. How'd it go?
It was amazing.
That's good.
It was amazing.
That's good to hear. So as we talked about on Monday, today is going to be our big, I don't know how big, zombie show. All zombies. We're all pretty passionate about zombie, I guess, the culture of zombies that is now everywhere. And we'll talk about it. So I'm going to say this just at the beginning because I think I looked this up and I thought it was a little bit interesting. The origin of the word zombie is obviously Haitian. And that came from basically the lore of using voodoo or black magic to bring the dead bodies into life, to reanimate them, and to use them as your kind of slave. But now, with the way culture is, you don't have to use magic. There's viruses, there's science, there's space viruses coming through asteroids and stuff. So a zombie can exist as long as you have a reason in your imagination.
Or if okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you're Marie Laveau from American Horror Story Season 3 Coven, you can, reincarnate them by your superpowers and float in the air while you're doing it, which is amazing. Just saying.
And look glamorous.
Mm-hmm. Angela Bassett. I love you.
Okay, so when I was a kid, I mean, there were some zombie movies, of course, but they weren't like there is now. I will tell you, I looked this up on Wikipedia last night and I did some counting, okay? There are listed on Wikipedia, and ever growing, of course, because new zombie movies come out every day. According to Wikipedia, 475 zombie films.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
There's 32 zombie shows and 12 other shows that feature episodes of zombie shows or zombie episodes. And there's 126 zombie games, with Call of Duty having, I think, every one of their games zombie mode playable.
I think that's only on their the Black Ops ones. I don't think their Modern Warfare has that.
Okay. I'm not a Call of Duty expert. I'll take your word for it because I don't know. But still, I mean, like, zombies have permeated our culture. People are going out on zombie walks, zombie mud runs, everything, zombie tea parties. There's zombies everywhere.
What the fuck? A zombie tea party? Really?
Yeah. I mean, my sister Patty would go to that in 1 second.
Okay, that's Sister Patty. No. Just no.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to talk about, I think the first thing we should talk about is how you think the zombie apocalypse would start.
It's fairly simple, like in a real world standpoint. We just need one crazy bastard to weaponize rabies.
Yeah. And that is the premise of 28 Days Later, right?
Exactly. Like, The Walking Dead can't happen. Like, you can't reanimate dead, but the infected it's a real, it's a real possibility.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I'm not no chemist. I don't understand how somebody would turn rabies into an airborne virus, but I mean, if it happened, look out.
Well, I mean, and we all know that there's countries around the world, I'm sure United States included, that are weaponizing viruses.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let's hope that these viruses don't go public, mainstream, I don't even know the words, get out to the people and start smallpox, any of these things. But if a thing like rabies or some sort of infection that turned people into zombies.
Yeah.
How fast do you think it would be? Like, do you really think it'll be like a movie like 28 Days Later where there's, basically only a few people left in England? Or do you think it's more of a slow kind of thing where it takes months to get to that point?
I think it's somewhere in the middle. It's got to be somewhere in the middle, because I think if it's too fast and it's almost, well, then again, it's never happened yet, so we can't put it into perspective, right?
It all depends on how it's transmitted, though. Like, if it's airborne, it could wipe out an entire country's population within a matter of days.
Yeah.
You get it in the drinking water, it could be even quicker.
Yeah.
Right? It again, it all depends on the mode of how you disperse said virus.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you're looking at big cities basically destroyed. If it's airborne or even a bite or a scratch or something, that could be a whole city like New York or Toronto wiped out really within a 24-hour period.
Because remember, these are close-knit cities too. Like everyone interacts with each other. Yeah.
Right. And there it is. Like, so let's say we make a dirty bomb that has weaponized rabies. They drop it over New York City. How many people are going to be infected within the first 10 minutes? Millions. Millions of people. Once that number is reached, how you stop it?
Yeah. And I mean, there's no, I mean, and if you're on a plane, it spreads so easily. As long as, I mean, if you don't immediately become rabid and you can carry that infection for a week or so and still spread it kind of unknowingly, you're on a plane and now you're over to, you know, Europe, Africa, India.
Yeah.
And you spread. Now, I always think that, like on 28 Days Later, where, you know, basically the whole country was gone, why didn't another country or England or somebody just drop a nuke on top of it? How long do you think, if a dirty bomb went over New York City and everybody was infected, how long before they drop a nuke on that city?
That's actually a fair question. I mean, it depends. Do the bleeding heart liberals get their say?
I think at some point when everybody knows that it's spreading within, like, you know, 5 minutes of contact and you're literally going to be dead and killing your kids, I think people are going to forget their bleeding hearts and go right into selfish survival mode.
I know I already am.
Yeah. I mean, I would consider myself a bleeding heart liberal, but trust me, if it came to me and my family, y'all dead. Fuck y'all. Right? What do you think, Ryan? Do you think the American government would nuke itself?
I think they would do what happened in The Walking Dead. Remember, I think was that Atlanta that they bombed like that? Yeah, I think they would do that.
I mean, how else do you deal with it?
Well,
that's my point. You don't have enough soldiers to go in and clean out New York City.
Exactly. Well, you have to protect the people. I'm going to steal a line from, this is so fucking weird, because Jacqueline, you're going to laugh at me. I'm going to steal a line from Teen Wolf, what Chris Argent had said, we protect those who cannot protect themselves. So I think basically that's what they're going to do. Yeah, that's what I think they're going to do. Well, the whole point of the military is the supposed point is for them to protect those who cannot protect themselves.
Yeah.
And so, you know, but
would they go nuclear, or would they just start dropping a bunch of, like, you know, the mother of all bombs and just kind of do that sort of thing?
I think they'd start off small.
Yeah, it'd be white phosphorus. They'd be trying to light them on fire rather than nuke. Because, I mean, you drop a nuke and then boom, there goes all that infrastructure, right? That's trillions and trillions of dollars lost. Yeah. And let's not forget the American government is all about profit before everything else, right? So
yeah, that makes sense.
But at the same point in time, though, like you're saying, like ground troops, it's one thing that's always pissed me off in every single bit of zombie lore is like the military gets run over. Like, no, I'm sorry. You know how long somebody in a tank could survive?
Yeah.
You're not stopping it. Like, you're not stopping it.
Yeah. They're just going to cream you.
Yeah, like what was it, the first episode of The Walking Dead? Where Rick's in Atlanta and he's, you know, he ditches under that tank, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, how the fuck that tank get overrun? It's a tank.
Can I actually say something about The Walking Dead? Since they're not willing to reveal what actually occurred prior to his coma or whatever the fuck he had. I actually think, what's his name? Kirkman? Is it Robert Kirkman?
Yeah, Robert Kirkman.
Yeah. Robert Kirkman is not creative enough to have had come up with a backstory as to what happened. That's why he did it in the middle of, you know what I mean? Because I hate those, well, what is it called? Mary Sue characters? I hate those kinds of characters.
Yeah, Mary Sue.
What's so fucking special about you that made you this, you know, all end all be all kind of a character? And so for me, sorry to kind of go into The Walking Dead, but you know, that's one of the common threads among three of us is we have all given up on The Walking Dead.
But is Rick really a Mary Sue? I find Rick to be one of the worst leaders of any TV show or movie I've ever seen.
The first 3 seasons, Rick was a Mary Sue. Because even he himself had said, what the fuck? Like, why am I dealing with all this shit? You know what I mean?
See, I kind of like that fact, though. Like, it just shows that he is kind of an everyman. You
Yeah.
know, he's struggling it. He's struggling with it the way that I think I would struggle with it. And like as we've discussed before, I would be that Negan character. I would be murdering people. I'd be taking what's mine. I don't give a shit about you. So I think that was kind of a breath of fresh air. I mean, for me personally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, Rick essentially is trying so hard to be a good person.
Yeah. You know, he's holding on to that last bastion of humanity, which, I mean, is kind of par for the course with all of, like, the Walking Dead style zombie movies, is you always have these people that are, like, trying to hold on to their humanity, and they don't realize that nature has changed, and it's now survival of the fittest again.
Yeah.
Whereas, like most times in the infected style zombie movies, you know, it's pretty much no holds barred. Like, we got to do what we got to do to survive.
Dog eat dog. Yeah, dog
exactly,
eat dog.
Right?
Yeah. I was reading a thing on like zombie survival tips last night while I was, you know, doing a little bit of research, and it was basically saying that they don't think that humanity would break down that quickly. It wouldn't become quite as evil as The Walking Dead makes out the other survivor groups to be. What do you guys say? I think I want to believe in the good of humans, but I kind of do think it would become very much like The Walking Dead.
I think it, again, I hate to be the person that keeps on saying I think it'll be somewhere in the middle. I think you'd encounter quite a bit of Negans. I think you'd encounter quite a bit of who were the cannibals? That group.
That group of the cannibals from
group.
The train station.
But you're not going to completely have complete and utter chaos. You know what I mean? I don't quite think that. The one thing that I absolutely refuse to believe in The Walking Dead is that the government completely shut itself down that quickly. Like, he was in a coma for what, a couple of weeks, and the government lost its control that quickly. That's impossible. You know what I mean? We've got underground bunkers beyond underground bunkers beyond underground bunkers, and you.
But the thing is, in the Walking Dead universe, everybody's already infected. So if you go down into the underground bunker with the president, vice president, and all these, you know, war council, and one person has a heart attack.
No, of course, no. That's what I'm saying. But I don't quite think it would be as quick and as severe as The Walking Dead had made it out to be, or even
because it seemed. I mean, like, it just seemed, that basically all of America was pretty much gone, and you have like maybe 10% still survive. Well, I mean, he was in the coma for what, a month in that show?
Something like that.
I
don't know if like rural America would be gone that quickly.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I think the government would be pretty screwed because, I mean, let's face it, the problem is now on their shoulders. You know, and
that's true.
You're going to have a lot of people clawing for power. I mean, let's not forget that most of these politicians are power-hungry individuals, and something like this kind of resets that clock, where there's going to be a lot of infighting.
Yeah, but
and who's to say a place like maybe Russia or China didn't take advantage of the situation and send over a few bombs to Washington and some other places too?
Yeah, but then also, I don't quite think we would have a complete government shutdown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
go
ahead.
Go on. No, go ahead.
Well, because I was going to say, although it's not really quite zombie, I Am Legend. Now, again, we don't also have a complete backstory on I Am Legend and how fast everything spread. In the storyline over there, but it gave you the idea that it was that quick because it went to shit pretty quickly. You know what I mean? Evacuating people so quickly and all that stuff.
And those are like those fast zombies that jumped on helicopters.
But I think that's one of my biggest issues, though, with a lot of these, I guess, fantasy authors or artists. A lot of the times, the reason why the reality of it becomes questioned is how severe they put it into terms. It's like, we have plans upon plans. I think we have plans A through Z, and then when we run out of that, we have decimal points for the numbers. You know what I mean? So,
well, I mean, that's part of fantasy. You have to drop your disbelief.
That's
because
true.
If you don't, you're not going to watch it. You're not going to watch even Titanic because you're going to be like, "Come on, we know that this quite wasn't true. As much as he tried to stick to the history of Titanic, were people really going to waste their time running around a ship with a gun instead of trying to get off? Right?
I think you underestimate the fight versus flight aspect of the human psyche. And let's face it, most people aren't fighters. Most people are going to panic. They're going to run. They're going to do stupid fucking shit to try to save their own skin. And that's where I come in, because I'm going to take advantage of them scared fucking people.
Yeah.
Well, clearly, I would not want to be where Clearly.
Well, okay, so let me look at this. This is the one I wanted to look at. I was mentioning this before the thing. So I want to see how long power would stay on, because you always see it lasting at least a few days before it goes off. It possibly would be even quicker. So basically, I'm looking at this. There was a Canadian show called Aftermath Population Zero. And in it, it breaks down what would happen if humans basically disappeared. Okay, so this wouldn't be exactly true in the sense of a zombie apocalypse, because you would still have workers working in their thing. But I mean, without somebody to man the systems, right? You're gonna have any of the coal power plants. They're gonna go off as soon as the coal inside the plant is gone. So if you don't have somebody constantly pushing the coal with a bulldozer in there, that's out. So that, I mean, the most that's gonna run is 4 hours. So you're going to have places like Las Vegas and suburbs, places that are relying on that kind of thing. They're going to go dark within a few hours. They're saying 55 minutes without somebody to run the things. The wind turbines in Pennsylvania go down. 85 minutes in Niagara Falls, because the power is going down. You would assume in places like Niagara Falls, if people are still alive for a while, power's going down. So they're going to try to divert water into the tunnels to kind of keep the power on. But now you're going to cause them to flood, possibly. And it's all, once these systems they're all interconnected, right? So within a 2 hour, 4 hour, 6 hour period, you're going to have all these things trip, and they're going to go out like the East Coast, blackout from 10 years ago. That's what's going to happen, but that's going to be basically countrywide if there's nobody to run it. I would assume in that sense you're going to have the government and cities are going to have armed cops, police, SWAT teams. They're going to keep those things alive. So those could potentially, depending on how long they get overrun, you could have that, weeks, months. But that's a lot of grid systems to keep running, because I mean, it just has to be one small grid the whole thing. And then there's the nuke plants.
See, I was just going to bring that up, the nuclear power plants, right? Now, for me personally, I feel like it would be preemptive or smart of us actually to cause meltdowns at these nuclear plants.
Why do you say that?
Why? Because now you are eliminating another huge swath of people that are potentially going to become infected and be a problem for you.
Okay. So you want them to have a meltdown and kill the population in the general area?
Well, is it easier to deal with complacent people, or is it easier to deal with raged out zombies that want nothing more than to rip your face off?
But what if the radiation doesn't kill them, and now you've made more zombies?
Fair enough. I don't know. I mean, again, it's a hard thing to think of, because there's so many variables. You know what I mean? Like, again, Canada, our population, it's under 40 million, very spread out. U.S., you guys are approaching 400 million, pretty close together. You're gonna wanna eliminate a lot of the threat as quickly as you can. Right? And that's where my whole thing comes in with me saying, like, I'm a Negan character. I want to eliminate the potential threat before it becomes the real threat.
Okay. Makes sense.
That, and I mean, less people, less work I have to do to feed them.
But would you be as inhumane as Negan was?
Humane?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say, I'm not a cruel person. I don't want to bash anyone's skull in with a baseball bat, but at the same point in time, I mean, I don't want to have to farm that much more to, support 30 extra fucking people.
Yeah.
And like,
but if you don't have a large group, I mean, at the beginning, I think a small group is your best bet, right? But later on, when you've got a really safe place to stay, don't you think you need more people to go out there and start scavenging and stuff?
You'd think that, but the more people, the more mistakes that can get made, the easier it is
True.
to fuck up and have whatever infected zombies find you.
Now, what would your guys' okay? Who would your essential group be? Like, would you want to have a doctor? Would you want to have like a vet, or like what group of people would you like to have?
Well, I mean, you would love to have a doctor. You'd love to have a survival specialist, you know, but these things aren't going to happen. I mean, if I'm in the zombie, like, let's talk about our plan, okay? Because this is where it comes down to. I think my house, other than my front door, is a pretty good place to hole up, because the first thing I would do is destroy my deck, right? Because I have a ladder I can lower down if I need to get into the grass there. Destroy my deck. My windows are up high. Nobody's going to climb in here other than my front door. So I barricade the front entrance and I exclusively use my back door. And we have a garden out there in the summertime. We could garden. Yeah, I build up the fence lines. And that would be it. I'd hole up in my house, to be honest.
It's a wooden structure, though. What are you going to do if a fire breaks out?
Well, what are you going to do? I mean, anywhere you go, a fire could break out. What I was reading, and this makes sense, this is where I would hole up for the beginning. And then I would make my way up north. Yeah. Because you try to get out of Toronto at the beginning, you're not getting out.
Fucked, yeah.
So until I can, you know, get around the road, I'm not leaving. I'm going to hole up as best as I can and scavenge if I have to.
I could just imagine Jacqueline scavenging. Oh my God.
And you know, honestly, this is horrible to say, but I told this to the kids in Scott. The first thing I would do, as much as I love them, would be kill my dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're going to bark and draw potentially zombies to my house.
Are you going to hoard hair dye?
At that point, I would not. I would have to go au natural because.
Oh no!
You know,
the one thing I always think about is God. If
I'll shave my head and wear wigs.
When everything becomes normal again, and they finally find me, and I look like a hot fucking mess. No, battery powered shavers, battery powered everything, because I'm not going to be one of those.
That's why you got to be ruthless like me and get people to be your slaves essentially, and make them go out and find that shit for you.
Yes,
that way you can stay flossing through the whole fucking thing.
I'm not gonna look like a hot fucking. I'm not gonna look like a hot fucking mess just because it's a zombie apocalypse. I'm sorry.
But do you think that someone's gonna come and save you? Don't you think the end game really is
not save me? But like, what if they finally
dead at some point?
But what if they finally find, let's say, like a cure or like a, you know, like a solution to this problem, and you end up looking like crap? The only good part about it is you'd lose a lot of weight. So that's I'm happy with that. But
I mean, maybe eventually. I think the first couple of weeks I'd have enough potato chips to keep me chubby.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You could probably market that as like a new diet craze, the zombie diet.
Like cold beans out of a tin.
My running off with what you said, what I would do is, I'm fucked because I'm in New York, right?
Yeah, you're done.
One of the best places that I can go to in New York City is basically be the most disgusting place on the planet, the East River. They have those huge boats. I'll stay on a fucking boat. You can't fish there because you probably get some radioactive fish.
But I mean, if you have somebody who knows how to sail, I mean, is it a boat that's overrun, or is there lots of survivors? You might have a
I'm not gonna fucking get like a regular boat. I'm not gonna paddle.
Oh, a yacht. That. Okay, so you can figure out how to drive a yacht.
Yeah,
come on.
Exactly. Like I would go to like Trump Towers, the very, very top, stay over there and wait for Spider-Man to save me.
But what if you encountered Eric Trump? I mean, he's already essentially a zombie.
He's dying.
Yeah.
I'm
just gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm going Negan on him. He has a date with Lucille.
I can't just, you have to make sacrifices in this. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get the.
But remember this, Ryan. Without electricity, you have no water to pump up to your penthouse. So what are you gonna drink?
Oh my God. Oh, that's a problem for you and I, because you and I are mermaids and we drink gallons upon gallons of water.
A lot of water.
So
my skin would go to shit within a day if I had to hold water.
I have super dry skin and I have psoriasis, so I'm fucked. The stress of this would be just, I'd be covered in psoriasis.
Okay, and now here's the thing: the zombie apocalypse happens. We haven't heard AJ's plan or Arthur's plan yet, but we will in a second. What extent do you go to get to your family? Scott's not home. My kids are at school.
Bye.
What do I do?
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah,
Bye, Felicia.
I've talked to my wife about this a bunch, and she knows that, like, if you're not here with me, sorry about your fucking luck. You know, I'm not risking my life for anybody, you know, but if she's around, you know, I'll do everything I can to protect her. But at the same point in time, she gets infected, like, see you later, like, bullet to the head.
Felicia.
Well, yeah, you gotta kill the family member if they're infected.
I'm more of the like the worst case scenario kind of person within regards to this. Like, I'm not going to be Mr. Nice Guy. I'm not going to see a group of starving people, regardless if they have fucking children or not, be like, oh, it's okay, I got you. No, fuck you. Get the fuck out of here. I'm alive for this reason.
Yeah. So what is your, outbreak happens. What's your first plan?
So outbreak happens. I'm running to my local high school. My local high school has 2 stories. It's a complete concrete building, has a pool full of fresh water, staircases that are easily able to be blown up, so there's no way to get up to me. I have a giant roof that in case there is a rescue effort, helicopter can land, whatever. There's obviously the fields around it, so if you got the time to fortify it, boom, you're good to go.
Okay.
I pretty much base my whole kind of thing off of the original Dawn of the Dead, which is my absolute favorite zombie movie ever made, because the first thing they did, they went to the mall. They took truck trailers, they blocked off all the doors, they got rid of all the entrances to get up to the stairs, right? And they just came up and down with a ladder. That, to me, is the only way to move forward, especially if you're in a populated area.
Yeah.
Right? And, The Walking Dead's kind of pointed out a couple of times, down the road, you're going to get these huge roaming hordes of zombies.
Yeah.
So at some point in time, it's going to be safe to kind of leave your hovel and fuck off.
Embark.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, where we luck out is winter.
Mm-hmm.
That's my whole thought process with being a Canadian in the zombie-apocalypse. Is all I got to do is I just got to get a little bit north after a little while, and problem solved. Problem solved. They're all going to fucking freeze to death. They're still flesh and bone. There's no way.
That's the thing.
That's
even if they don't freeze to death, as long as they're frozen, you can come out of your winter shack or wherever you're staying, kill the ones that are around.
There you go. Go
and at least
house.
You clear the area, every 6 months. And if you go north enough, like you go up to even say Thunder Bay here, summer is only maybe 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, when you think of especially here in Canada, you think of our topography. It's not an easy place to get to, So even if you did have a horde of 15, 20,000 of these, these Walking Dead assholes, you're pretty much good. But that's my thing.
They're gonna fall off Canadian Shield, and
that's with the Walking Dead, right? That's when the dead come back to life. Now, if we're talking infected, you are fucked. There is nothing you can do.
You can do
now.
Yeah. Well, no, unless you've got a hazmat suit with all your oxygen to keep you, unlimited oxygen.
Now, I've always, how do I put this? I kind of lost my train of thought with that one. The infected are terrifying because they're like locusts.
Yeah.
There's no rhyme. There's no reason. It's kind of like in World War Z where they're in Israel there, and they just start climbing over top of one another to get to the goal, right? How do you stop that? There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And that thought has terrified me since I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's what do you do? How can you stop that? There's nothing. They're fucking ants. They have a one-track mind, and that is to kill you, and that's it.
Yeah. People don't realize it's one you could deal with, but a horde of them.
There you go.
You know what I mean? And remember, they're running on
shows
instinct.
where they're in the middle. Yeah, you're not going to survive. You can't. I don't care what kind of ninja you think you are.
Yeah.
If 10 zombies have surrounded you, one's going to get you in the back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I just want to mention Sister Patty's survival plan because she was kind enough to send it in. She says that she would stay away from Arthur.
Yep.
Which I think is very justified. And her friend Spencer, who I also think has AJ's attitude. And she wonders, is going to an island still a good idea? Because I guess we've seen in shows like Walking Dead, the zombies don't necessarily, die in the water.
That's a hard one though, because I mean, how
Yeah.
far out is the island? How deep is the
Yeah.
water? How populated is the area around said island? How easy
And
is
if you get strong enough currents, they're just going to blow them away from you anyway.
See, now
Yeah.
I'm not even just talking about the zombies. I'm also talking about people like me that go, "Hey, that's a good spot to hide. I'm going to come take it
Yeah.
from you."
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's one of our things. How do you protect yourself from other humans, right?
Now, obviously in the States, being gun crazy, it's a little bit easier. Here,
Yeah.
like, I mean, yeah, a lot of people have rifles and stuff like that, but we're not as gun nuts, right? So it's a little harder.
Yeah.
To me though, I'm going like Vietnam styles. I'm doing like pits with poop covered sticks in it and fuck all of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you would have to, at this point, you'd have to do some booby traps.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To keep your property safe.
And when the first time I talked to Liz about this, Liz kind of had the same kind of like, "You're a fucking dick," and it's like, well, no, it's that fight or flight mentality. Like,
Yes,
I want to survive. I want to keep on trucking, and my survival depends on your death. Like, because you're just going to consume my fucking resources or do something fucking stupid to get me killed.
Exactly.
So let's be preemptive. Knife to the skull.
I have a good idea. I don't know if it's good. I think it's a good idea. Because just, there's going to be lots of places to scavenge and things. People are going to go for food and survival things. I'm going to get a bunch of drones, because when the zombies start coming around my property, I'm going to get a drone and fly it and make them fly away. Or lead them away from my property, then just drop the zone wherever. I don't care. It doesn't need to come back, because I'll have like 25 of them. Lead them away. Whatever. I'll get all of them.
Okay,
and I'll have my generator to power everything, to recharge them. Don't worry. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be you or me at this point, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's got to be at some point.
I would like to think that for me, one of the, because I'd like to think that I'd probably be by myself. At this point, I think my family would be, I'm sorry to say this, and I love my family, they'd be stupid enough to kind of try to go to the Poconos or whatever. Yeah, or something, and get stuck in traffic and get bombed or whatever. I mean, too bad. I love you, but bye. I would try to make a small enough group where it's an essential group. That the main focus is we have to survive together, just as us as the group, and that you can't really just trust everybody. I hope that there's no like star-crossed lovers situation where someone falls in love with another person and blah blah blah. But I would like.
But what's to keep that group keeping you around, Ryan? What resources?
My superpowers.
Okay, because I'm thinking if a group of survivors sees me and they be like, "This busted ass old lady is gonna slow us down."
Well, they don't know about.
They're gonna Otis me right off the bat.
Well, they're not gonna know what I'm gonna do. Like, I have good dick sucking skills, so clearly they're gonna have.
I don't know how popular
and
that's.
I'm sorry, but that's something that's not discussed a lot within the realm of the zompocalypse is people's lust for sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know if this is going to be your last day on Earth. You know what I mean? So you're probably like, once you have your food and water and safety situation kind of figured out, I kind of always thought it'd be one big, huge, fucking gross, unshowered orgy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it makes sense because like that sort of thing, like. That's the ultimate proof that you're surviving, right?
Exactly. Yeah. If you have time to hook up, then I mean, things are going fairly well for you.
Exactly. And I'm gonna show them that it can go even better if they keep me alive.
Okay. So let's talk about this very official quiz.
Mm.
I mean, I'm sure it's perfectly official and scientific based.
Well, yeah, it's on BuzzFeed. It has to be.
Exactly. So we took one of these, endless BuzzFeed quizzes. We all did it. Of course, mine reset, so I can't read my answer. But I know that I would survive, according to this, 6 months. Probably don't think I would survive that long, to be honest. Maybe 6 weeks.
Okay.
What did you get, Ryan?
I got 6 months as well.
6 hours.
6 months. I said 6 months.
So I left mine up. And what mine says right now is, you are a true survivor. You are willing to do almost anything to keep you and your group or fellow survivors going. Now, let's face it, that's going to be a very small number. And it says, you will be there to the very end of the story with what went down. It's just how you overcame the odds at what cost.
Well, and I mean, it had some good questions on it, because it wasn't just about camping or if you could use a gun. It was like, you know, would you be willing to eat somebody? Would you be willing to eat the flesh of someone you knew? Would you be willing to kill somebody to eat their flesh? I mean, it had a little more, would you kill somebody to protect your stuff? Would you steal? So there was a lot of different questions, which I kind of liked, instead of just like, you know, oh, you know, what are you going to do? Are you going to run into this building to survive? You know, it had a lot of questions that I thought were interesting.
Yeah. Well, the question is your moral, right? And when a situation, like going with what Arthur had said, going with a situation where moral doesn't really exist anymore, I'm going to have to do whatever it takes to survive. And if it meant lying that there's a fucking cure out there and I'm the fucking doctor to cure all of it and you need to take me to Washington.
Oh, you're going to Eugene it.
Yeah. Fuck that shit. If I had to, fuck out of here, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a fair
to
point.
Survive.
Like,
you know
again,
what I mean?
it's about your survival, and you have to lie, cheat, and steal, and at this point, murder to ensure your survival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no.
I will say. Oh, I was just gonna say, our friend Justin, he says that he thinks he would die right away. But even Herschel would outlive him, because, you know, Herschel's an old guy and Justin's a young man, but he doesn't have any survival powers.
But you know what? I also I commend people who are honest with that they think they'll die right away. I am going to say I will try. I think this is the point that we're all making. Same thing with what Arthur is saying, even though some people are going to be like, oh my God, that's so mean that you would do that. You just want to survive it for as long as you can.
Yeah.
And that's that. You know what I mean? You can't control, people forget that you can't control other people's actions. So if I meet, let's say, a Negan character and kills me and I'm outnumbered, I'm fucking dead. There's nothing I can fucking do about that, but I'm fucking dead. So, you know.
But at what point do you give up? So here's me. I'm with my husband, my kids. If I've lost all three of them, do I give up? I don't know. I mean, I can't say that I would continue or I would just give it all in. What point do you give it? If you're by yourself and you've been by yourself for 6 months.
That's a great question.
And I think that's a little bit of like the logical fallacy within regards to the zompocalypse, is we all like to think that we're going to start off with the ones closest to us.
Yeah.
Chances are they're dead. Chances are it's you against the world now.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And for me personally, I want to survive solely for the fact that I want to be the one with the power at the end of it. I want to come out on top as fucking emperor of the world. Yeah, I know I'm taking your job, but you know, it is what it is.
Cannot be trusted, apparently.
You're the first one Ryan's going to execute when his crown is delivered.
My direct threat.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about our movies.
Okay.
Our top 10 list. I don't know if Ryan made a top 10 or.
No, I did not. Clearly.
Okay. I'll start, I guess. Like I mentioned, 475 zombie films and growing. Most of this is no particular order except for my first three. That is definitely my top three. So I have, should I start with the top three, I guess? 28 Days Later. I love that movie. I love how fast they go. I love how they're just, it's insane. It's
true to life.
You know? Yeah, and how they just kind of sit there, but the minute they hear a noise or they see a light, they're just going. Yep. You know, I love it. I love the way the zombies look. I love that movie just for like how that group of military guys led by Christopher Eccleston are, you know, just I love, I cannot, and the dread I felt watching that movie. You know, when the drop of blood went into the father's eye.
Yeah.
And he's got 10 seconds and he's like, get away from me. You know, I love that. And number two, the 1978 version of Dawn of the Dead.
Yes.
This is the movie I remember watching with my dad repeatedly. And it's not just the zombies. I mean, the zombies were great. You had the freaking, what do you call it? The Hare Krishna zombie. I loved him.
Yeah,
the movie.
that was so funny.
You know, the bikers, because here comes your Negans of the past, right? The bikers showing up and causing trouble. The pregnant woman. But it also was, George Romero was sending a message about consumerism and how we were zombies to them all, right? I loved that. And number three, the Dawn of the Dead remake. Loved it. I thought it was a different movie, but it kind of still had some of the same aspects. I liked the way the zombies looked. I liked the main story, and I really liked oh, what's her name? I can't remember. The main girl, the Canadian actress, loved her. Sarah Polly, is that her name? Sarah Polly. And then comes in, now this is in no particular order, Zombieland. Train to Busan. Have you seen that one yet, Arthur?
I don't think so.
That's a Korean movie with subtitles.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It's on Netflix. You should watch it.
That out.
Everybody should watch it. I love the zombies in that one. The Evil Dead.
Yes.
Now, I never really considered Evil Dead zombies. I always thought they were demons, but they're dead, so I'm going to say the Evil Dead. Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
Brain Dead by Peter Jackson.
I can't say I've seen that one either.
Did you ever see that one? It was his first movie, and it's considered one of the most gory movies of all time. You should watch that one. It's good.
I'll check it out.
The original Night of the Living Dead kind of started it all. That's the first zombie movie I ever saw. Dead Snow.
I seen that one. That one's all right.
I like that because it taught me something to use in life. If you ever get trapped in an avalanche and you don't know which way is up, you spit. And if the spit goes down, that means you're facing downward. And if the spit goes in your face, you got to dig up. So I like that. And I Am Legend by Will Smith. I love that movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
I can't say that you really picked up on anything that I left out. Like, that's pretty much mine, except for World War Z would be my number 2 after the original Dawn of the Dead. Because World War Z,
I like that one.
To me, gave the real world kind of aspect to it, right? Like the part where Pitt tapes the phone books to his body. That's brilliant. That's something that every person could do, and it would help you survive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the only one, other than World War Z and Quarantine. I really like Quarantine. I thought Quarantine kind of hit the, I mean, it was
that's the American version of Wreck, right?
I just figured Quarantine's probably the best one to mention because, lots of people,
most people have seen
and they don't want to read fucking subtitles.
Yeah.
But
I agree. Those would be honorable mentions for me as well.
And Army of Darkness. That, to me, out of the Evil Dead series, that's the zombie one, right? But he raises the Army of the Dead. And, I mean, Bruce Campbell is just fucking amazing.
Yeah, he's funny.
I'm such a Bruce Campbell fanboy.
Sister Patty sent in her favorite movies. She says Night of the Living Dead for a classic and Dawn of the Dead for a remake. So
see, but here's the thing though with the Night of the Living Dead. Are we talking the original 1968 or are we talking the remake?
Not the 80s. I mean, I like the 80s versions as like funny.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking about a true zombie movie, I'm talking about the original. She's talking about the classic film.
See, I preferred the one in the 80s only because it had Candyman in it.
Oh.
And that guy terrifies me. So there was that extra element of horror. Because, like, let's face it, Candyman was the last movie that really fucking freaked me out. Like, I remember being a kid and watching that, and I wouldn't use the bathroom for, like, 2 fucking weeks. That shit terrified the shit out of me. Oh, yeah, I got no shame in admitting it. I was pissing and shitting outside. Like, I was fucking so scared. So fucking
wild
scared.
Man.
Yeah.
My favorite zombie movie of all time is Devil Wears Prada. Because they are all zombies to fashion.
All those models, right?
Well, I'm not really into the whole scaring yourself to bejesus kind of movies and shows. I mean, I was into The Walking Dead first at a specific point. I saw that movie. Was it The Cabin or whatever? I mean, that's not a zombie movie, but I saw that stupid movie and it wasn't that creepy. But or Cabin Fever? Cabin Fever.
Where they got sick. Cabin Fever, that's it, yeah.
I saw Cabin Fever.
That was okay.
I don't watch a lot of zombie movies. I mean, this is why I'm going to die within 6 months because I'm not going to be fucking prepared. But,
Prepared.
Yeah, I'm not a prepared person when it comes to stuff.
What about zombie TV shows? You guys watch any of those? I mean, we all spoke about giving up on The Walking Dead.
That's the only one I liked. And I mean, that was purely because I was reading the graphic novels just as it was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they dropped the fucking ball on it. Like it's now a fucking soap opera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I give up.
Shall we discuss why? Because I think we're going to get a lot of flack for that. But why did we? Again, we're all individuals here. We all share different opinions about it. But why did we give up on the?
I just felt like it became too manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
Like like the thing I liked about The Walking Dead was shit happened and
Mhm.
it kind of resolved itself by the end of the season, and it set
Mhm.
up the next season. So like, it resolved itself and we saw that little glimpse of the governor. So now the governor's going to show up soon. You know what I mean? That's fine. But what they did with Glenn, and I mean, I always knew Glenn was going to die. I'd read the comics. Sorry, spoilers, people.
Yeah.
Glenn was going to die. So when they did the whole thing is Glenn alive or dead? That pissed me off. We had to wait 2 or 3 episodes to see if he was alive, which I knew he was. Then only to kill him in a freaking cliffhanger for the next year. You know what I mean? Of course, that wasn't him. That was Abraham in the cliffhanger. But it's just, don't play with my emotions like that. Don't do these cheap stunts. You're supposed to be a show of quality, and you're trying to cheap stunt like this. You lost me, buddy. I didn't give a shit after that.
Yeah, that's fair. For me, it's kind of around the same point. It was just the introduction to Negan. That guy should have been so much more ruthless. And I mean, what's his name? Jeffrey Dean Morgan? Phenomenal actor, phenomenal fucking actor.
Yeah,
and
he really is.
I don't really like his portrayal. It's too douchebag, not enough evil.
Yeah.
It's kind of campy,
right?
Like, don't you think? Yeah.
Right? Like, it's to me, like, again, calling myself like the Negan type character and thinking about how fucking ruthless I would be, I expected a little bit more of that out of the show.
Yeah.
Again, it's campy. It's a fucking joke. It's meant for children now.
Well, my whole reason, I think, for stopping was, you've heard me say this, Jacqueline. I'm a big proponent of know when to end. It applies to movies, it applies to book series, it applies to movie series, TV shows. When it just feels like it keeps on going and the point is lost, because I get it, you know what I mean? The person that introduced me to The Walking Dead is a friend of mine. And he was like, oh, you'll really like it because you like these kinds of books and you like these kinds of movies, you'll like it. So I gave it a shot, and I liked it. But then eventually, I think after about season 4, I was just like, it just keeps on going and the point is being lost. I get it. They're fighting, someone comes up and, potentially is a threat to them, and then they kill off the threat and blah, 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 blah. They live on, people die, whatever. But now it just keeps on going. On the comic book series or the graphic novels, that's fine. Because, it's a book. You know what I mean? And you've got a core readership on there. But on a TV series, it's starting to feel, the word is campy. It's like now it's just a shtick. It doesn't feel like you've got a point anymore. You're really kind of starting to lose people who've been watching, because you've been watching it since the beginning, Jacqueline. I kind of did too. I think I started right after season 1 ended.
Right.
And so it's like now these people are kind of getting just a little bit bored now. It's like, okay, well, you can't shock me anymore. You've already killed one of the most favorite characters, which is Glenn. There's nothing else that you can do to shock it. Not that Glenn's death was unexpected for me, as I knew he was going to die, and he was going to die exactly the way that he did, which was graphic with a bat. But it doesn't have a point. Now it just feels like you have no more point to this. And granted, that's how life is. Life doesn't feel like it has a point sometimes.
Yeah.
But this isn't life. This is a TV show.
Watching a TV show for a reason. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if you just keep rehashing the same stories over and over again, it just becomes boring. Yes, you fight a bad guy, you defeat him at some point, blah, blah, blah.
Well, and that's kind of it, right? Like, they find a place, they're safe, and it's like, oh, look how happy they are, and then boom, shit goes down, and they gotta move, and then they find a place, oh, we're happy, boom, shit. Like, fuck off. It's not, I can understand the wanting to feel safe. Again, that's part of the human condition. We really do kind of want safety. But at what point does the main group kind of just give the fuck up and become the scumbags that you need to be to survive in this world?
Yes. I love that, because it's the truth. It's like, at what point do you say, this is just bullcrap? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I feel like sometimes, and this is why I call people show tards, or, like there's idle tards on an old podcast that used to exist. They called them idle tards and stuff like that. But I guess I'm calling them Walking Dead tards. It's just, you're just obsessed because you're obsessed with the show. But if you're looking at it from a standpoint of it's going to get boring, then you'll get the point as to why some people are now dropping off and saying, I think I've seen everything that could happen. Because what else can you do
to put shock factor, because I feel like that's what Kirkman and AMC are trying to do. Let me give you another shock factor that you're not expecting, so then I'll keep you engaged, instead of stick to your storyline. Whatever your storyline is, whatever your end goal plan is, stick to that, so then we could be like, all right, good, you're getting to the point. It just feels like you're just trying to shock me. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion on The Walking Dead.
What zombie what, you know what, I don't know if you guys ever saw this. I loved, for a zombie show, and it wasn't a full show, it was like I think 3 or 4 episodes, Dead Set. Did you ever watch that one?
I never watched it.
It's a British zombie show based around a girl who works on the set of the British Big Brother. And I just thought it was so well done. It has its humorous points. You see the host is a zombie. You see the zombies getting into the Big Brother house. If you get a chance to watch that, Dead Set is really good. I also watch iZombie. It's not a typical zombie show. It's not about hordes of zombies attacking people, but I think it's fun. Another British one I liked was In the Flesh.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was good. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of zombie things out there. I'm looking at this list. I watched Helix. I watched the Z Nation. I call it Z Nation, Z Nation.
Oh, that's
remember The Revenants, where it was the British show. What was it called? Or when it became American, it was called The Returned, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's zombie stuff everywhere and sometimes they're done really well, and sometimes they're, they need to go away.
Yeah.
Walking Dead.
Yeah, The Walking Dead. It's sad. That's my my favorite thing that Sharon Osbourne had always said. Kind of not the founding father of reality shows, but one of the pioneers for celebrities at least, was go out when you're on top, and know when to end something organically, so it doesn't feel so forced. You don't want to be that show where it's like, oh, it ended because eventually people stopped watching the show, or you got canceled because people don't want to watch it anymore, kind of a thing.
Okay, so the last point I have, I don't know, you guys might have more stuff to talk about, but fast versus slow. So for years, zombies were always these slow shamblers that you could, as long as you weren't in a horde, you could usually escape zombies, right? World War Z, 28 Days Later, and even, I guess, some of the zombies are getting faster on The Walking Dead, right?
Yep. Yep.
What do you guys think? Do you think fast zombies are where it's at, or slow zombies? What do you think?
It brings me to my point of The Walking Dead versus the infected.
Yeah.
Right? The slow zombies are The Walking Dead. They are the dead that have risen from the graves. Shit's impossible. The infected, though, very, very possible, where you're just sick and you still have the same capabilities as a human does, but without the mental hurdles to go through.
Yeah, and you wouldn't feel pain.
No pain, no fatigue, no thirst, no hunger, except the hunger to kill.
Yeah.
That's always been the scariest point for me is that the infected. Like, again, The Walking Dead's easy. Like, look at Zombieland. If like The Walking Dead was real and these things came from the grave, I think that's more or less what it'd be. A bunch of assholes just out having fun.
Yeah.
But the infected, we're fucked. We are all fucked.
Yeah.
There is nothing you can do to, unless you have a solar powered fucking plane or some shit. You're fucked.
Just stay in the sky forever.
Like, you are fucked. But at what point do they just create a human fucking tower to get that goddamn plane out the air?
I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That's the thing, right?
Wow.
I think that people sometimes don't realize that. I do think that if you're going to do a zombie themed something, I prefer the slow. Maybe because I feel like I'm going to have a chance at survival with the slow.
So you kind of prefer the actual undead as opposed to infected?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the infected is just too scary for me to think, because I'll be like, eat me. Just, I'm done.
Yeah, you know what? I do prefer the classic undead. Although my favorite is, one with the infected. Maybe just because it's a throwback to what I was used to growing up. I like the classics, but I think I like the idea that you have a chance at least, right? There's a chance if you're facing the undead, slow. If you're facing something like a World War Z or 28 Days Later, exactly, you're
Yeah,
fucked.
you're
You don't have a
fucked.
chance. I'm not a fast runner. I'm not Usain Bolt. I'm dead.
See,
Could be, you just don't know it.
and that's where the fight or flight response comes in, because you have to realize that flight isn't an option anymore. You
Yeah.
have to stay at your ground. You have to fight
Yeah.
for yourself, you know?
Mhm.
Whereas within the Walking Dead type universe, you can flee. You can constantly
Yeah.
just keep moving and keep moving. These things are fucking slow. I mean, again, unless you roll into a horde of like 30, 50,000 fucking strong, you're pretty much
Yeah.
fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, and again, like it's, the Resident Evil movies have had some decent ideas, you know, with like the school bus, the fucking chain link fence around the windows and shit. Like, have fun stopping that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's, or what I always say to Liz is, I just go get a bulldozer.
Mm.
Stop it.
Smart.
Stop the fucking bulldozer.
Smart.
Like, what are you
Yeah.
gonna do? I'm just gonna keep
Yeah.
on fucking putting along the road. You know what I mean?
I want a Zamboni.
Yeah, that's a completely open vehicle though, so have fun with that one.
I know. I just always want to drive a Zamboni. What would your, if you could create your ideal kind of movie? You don't have to give away a whole script and starring, but just like, where would you set it? What would the premise be?
Tokyo.
Really?
Oh,
Tokyo, about
millions and millions
yeah,
of people.
Tokyo, about 2 hours after the first outbreak hit. That would, to me, would be one of the most intense zombie flicks ever.
Infected or
interesting.
Infected, always infected for me.
Okay.
Okay.
The Walking Dead's been overdone as far as I'm concerned.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that.
Mine would probably be, shockingly enough, somewhere like the Midwest.
Okay.
Because I think a big city is just like, okay, let's slow zombies.
Even some of those. What was that movie? I don't know if you saw it. It was the two guys that were basically in a car with the zombies all around them,
Mhm.
and they were in the forest. Oh, I don't remember what it's called, but that was kind of like that sort of thing. They were in an abandoned area, but they still got swarmed. So
Well, and I mean, it would be fun to watch a movie full of rednecks just having fun shooting
I'm
zombies.
sure there's a movie called Redneck Zombies.
Yeah, drinking fucking Bud Light, trying to figure out who gets to have sex with their cousin first.
Oh, ew. Oh my god. That's so
She's the last
disgusting.
lady alive.
Yeah,
What are
hey
you
man,
gonna
you gotta do
right?
what you gotta do.
That's, oh my god, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna like hole myself up in a gym with all the you know the gym people like that love to go to the gym and be like, well, I'm sorry, I'm the last one. So take it or leave it.
I would love my zombie movie to actually be starring Ryan.
Why?
Just, you know, like, let's put Ryan in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. It could be infected. It could be the Shamblers. I don't care. I just want to see Ryan.
Just to watch the panic.
Oh my Arthur and Jacqueline. I now know how much I can
I'm an empress.
No, okay, so to kind of even further broaden up my whole perspective, I'd love for it to be where it's a family that's kind of a little bit detached from the world. And
Yeah.
when they're on their way to, let's say, go to town or like a main city, they're like, what the fuck happened? Kind of a little bit like what happened to Rick. I don't have a preference as to whether it's going to be, I guess, Walking Dead-ish or World War Z kind of a zombie. But I'd like to see that kind of aspect of people who are super detached and it's like, oh, fuck. What are we going to fucking do now? Kind of a thing. Because I think it's a little bit interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be dead in a couple of minutes, by the way, if you guys did that to me. I'll be dead. Not a good movie. Not a good movie.
Well, we wouldn't put you in the real zombie apocalypse, Ryan. We're just saying we'd make a movie where you thought you were in the zombie apocalypse. So we'll just have like actors dressed as zombies chase you around, and you know we'll film it. We'll make a lot of money off of that.
Oh, really? Do you think I can get an Oscar nomination?
Probably not.
Okay, then I don't want it.
Okay, so we're going to be wrapping up shortly.
Yes.
We'll be back on Monday with our usual political and current events shows. I want to thank the commenters, Sister Patty, Justin, and I never mentioned Kat. Kat says fast zombies are scary, and Justin says that he likes them when they're fast. I will say this weekend, I'm not sure what time yet. I'll let you know. Justin and I will finally be debuting our TV version of this podcast, where we'll be talking about TV shows that we watch and some goodies. So hopefully you guys will listen to that one too. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for supporting us. Hopefully you'll like, listen, and share this with your friends.
Yeah.
Any final words, Arthur?
No, not really. Just if the zombies break out, stay the fuck away from me because I will kill you.
Yeah, exactly. Ryan?
So, stay away from Arthur. Basically, that's
I mean,
my
our
word.
Canadian's supposed to be very nice and kind.
Not him.
All bets are thrown out the window.
Apparently not Arthur.
Okay, have a great week, everybody, and thanks
Yes.
for listening.